Alright, today I'm going to be reviewing two products for the Vita. One of them is the CTA digital hand grip. This is a plastic grip that you basically just insert your Vita into, and it gives you more of a feeling of playing a controller like the standard PlayStation controller rather than holding a handheld. That's not as awkward, much more comfortable to play pretty much every game I've messed with, and it's pretty cheap. This is about $13 at Amazon and quite a few other places. It's pretty simple, straightforward. There's a button on the bottom. You just click it, slide the base down, and then you just take your system, slide the base back up, lock it down, and you're good to go. Like I said, comfortable. It's a very familiar layout to a PlayStation 3 controller, and it's also pretty durable. I've had this one for quite a while, haven't had any problems with it, probably around 3 months now, and use it daily. The only thing I've noticed that's a little bit shaky with it is the fact that if you play certain types of games, it's got a little bit of slack in it. So if you're playing something, just holding it with one hand and writing on it with the other, or using your finger, you'll tend to press on the side a little bit and give yourself a little bit of slack. Not a big deal. Haven't noticed it getting really any looser over time or anything like that. But it's a really good system. It's very lightweight. Obviously this is no longer portable, although the Vita wasn't necessarily the most portable thing on the planet to start with. This is a nice accessory. It's inexpensive, and it does what it says it does. The only other thing with this is this does block most of your ports. When this is set up and the Vita's in it, you can still access your headphone jack, but you can't get to your game slot, and you also can't access the memory card slot on the bottom. So you do have to take it out every time you want to make a change with your game. You can still access your controls on the top, up and down volume, power, and touch screen in the rear is easily accessible, and it doesn't interfere with anything on the front. So very, very good accessory, but there are a couple of caveats with it. The next one actually looks very similar. Matter of fact, these are supposed to be from two different companies. This is from CTA, and this is from either Nyko, depending on how the company's name's actually pronounced. And if you'll notice, these look almost identical. The molding used, they feel the same as far as the actual texture on the surface. It's slightly rougher texture. It's not really glossy, and what they use on the mold is a little bit rougher texture, so it almost has a like a cloth-like feel to it, but this is still plastic. From the back you can see there's a little bit of difference in the two, but not a lot. This actually does a lot more though. This particular piece is the Nyko power grip for the Vita. What this does is it does everything this does, except it adds a battery. There's a rechargeable battery in this, and the way it works is almost the same as the piece from CTA. You slide this down, take your Vita, insert it in like so, press this up, and lock it down, and that's it. If you want to do a recharge, you use this port on the device instead of your normal Vita port, and they say that this will give you double the battery life from the standard Vita battery, but in my experience it's more like triple. This piece is around $30. Like I said, the battery is internal on it, and it's a pretty great piece of tech. Take anything out, I mean, if this had been 5-10 years ago, you'd have probably 4 times the weight and a handful of double or AAA batteries in here to deal with. So there's nothing like that on this. It does add a little bit of weight to the Vita. That's one thing that the CTA piece does not do. This really doesn't add any weight, but this adds a little bit. Not horrible for what it does, but you will have that to deal with. As far as other things, this pretty much covers everything that the other one covers. It still covers your cartridge port on the top, and also access to the memory card on the bottom. But other than that, cosmetically, the devices are pretty close to identical. The little bit of play that you'll get from both devices would potentially be more of a problem here, because obviously if you're plugging into the bottom port on your Vita, if that gets wallowed around a whole lot, you could get into potential problems. But I haven't noticed there being that much movement, really. Very minor amount. One other thing is this has an LED on the bottom, and this is a little bit bizarre. The way this works, it has a green and a red LED, and it starts out, if you're fully powered up, it'll be solid green. Then it switches to green and red flashing intermittently. Then it goes to red, and then flashing red when you start to run out of power. The way it actually functions is the Vita battery is given top priority. The Vita battery doesn't drain first. It drains the battery in this device first, and then when this runs out, then you start going to the Vita battery. And normally, with regular play, I would get like a day, maybe, out of the Vita battery, worth of average time, not a day straight play, but I would have to charge it daily. With this, it's like every 3 days, 3.5 days, so this thing really lasts. One thing, though, you do have to watch is when you first get this, it'll seem like you can't charge it all the way. They say in the instruction manual that it'll take a few charges to get this thing to fully charge, and they're right. If you plug this up the first time and leave it, doesn't matter how long you leave it, it'll never come off of red. So it'll always look like it's not fully charged. After the third, fourth charge, you'll get up to where it's giving you the intermittent LED, and then by the time you hit the fifth charge on up, it'll power up all the way to green. Another thing is, if you have the Vita in this and on, either in sleep mode or all the way on, this will not charge all the way to the very top. What happens is it continually draws power out of this first, and it looks like it's not charging all the way. So to be 100% sure you're fully charged, you're either going to want to give it like 6 hours, maybe overnight to charge, and have your Vita off when it's in it, or take it out. Either way you want to do it. But it does charge really good, really consistently, and it's I haven't noticed any problem with it getting hot or anything else along those lines. This device is about $30, and to be double the price of the CTA piece, it's worth it. I mean, you're basically adding 3 times the battery life for around $15 additional, and that's not very bad. And like I said, it really does increase the life of the battery in the Vita. And the way this will do is it'll drain this first, and then you'll go into draining the Vita battery last. Since I've had this, I haven't noticed the battery draining at all on the Vita. It comes to this, by the time this is red, I mean, I haven't actually gotten to the point I've drained this and the Vita battery both. So I would estimate you could get at least, for what I would normally get with a day's use with just the Vita, I would estimate at least 4 days, a good 4 days use before both are drained. Maybe even a little bit longer. Obviously your mileage may vary depending on how you play and things of that nature, as far as leaving your system on and whatnot. Other than that, not much to deal with the piece, but both excellent devices, excellent add-ons. They both make the Vita much easier to use, more comfortable for play. But this one definitely does a lot more when it comes to battery life, and definitely a nice piece.